every church that we went to is jam-packed. People are super passionate about God, about worshiping God. Especially this nation is a Muslim nation. It's a really hard ground.
You come a long ways to get here, but once you get here, man, it's just so... Got to have a heart for people because they face some extreme difficulties.
We're just gonna take you guys along with us and see what we're gonna be doing here in Pakistan.
Heading for another revival service, looking forward to what God's gonna do here in Pakistan. Traveling with a couple of our favorite guys, Pastor Peter and Pastor James, and Sawang and I, men of vision and faith, expecting great things for the people that God has given a responsibility for in this nation particularly. There'll be a lot of needs represented tonight and a lot of people that just expecting something from God. People come really hungry and really ready to receive for healing and prosperity, finances, whatever it may be. They just really need to look to God. So let's look to God together.
God is so in love with you, every one of you in this room.
यहाँ पे जितने भी लोग हैं, खुदा सबसे प्यार करता है.
He so loves you.
वो आपसे मोहब्बत करता है.
Pray for this nation always, because this is a huge nation, needs Jesus just like any other nation, and God loves these people and wants to get into their lives. 6 years ago, we were preaching in this street up here, just had the whole street blocked off and doing an evangelistic crusade. So we're at the home of Pastor Karamat, and he is hosting us here. We got a great banquet prepared here, like everywhere we go in Pakistan. It's absolutely amazing. We always have a great curry meal. There's just no reason not to want to be here. I'll tell you what, I wish you were here. Tonight we're looking forward to our third evening of Open Evangelism. But you know what it's like when you just finish something amazing, and what an amazing night we had. There was, I don't know, 250, 300 people there. They just crowded into that place, it was just a vacant lot, right? And they put rags or carpets or whatever on the ground, or so people can sit and stay out of the dirt. The response to the worship, boy, people were just so engaged, and then the preaching, they were just really engaged. God has a plan for each one of us that's special and unique. Sawang shared a bit at the beginning and just kind of got them primed up and ready to go, and encouraged them to open their hearts and get ready for the word, which was just awesome. And then to step into that and bring a word, about God pulling them out of the multitude. They need to learn to think differently and realize that God has made us a head and not a tail. And when you do that, then your faith is not only just for yourself, but it's ready to minister to others. And so I want to encourage you, man, if God is tugging at your heart, there's a people somewhere that you could go to and minister to them where they are. And it'll just open their hearts, and they'll receive Christ and receive the gospel and receive blessings. Like, to me, that's just the most rewarding and exciting thing ever. One thing that I really appreciate is how much the people appreciate us being here. Who are we except someone that came from far away, that cares enough to come and visit them? You've got such a good church, strong church. Yeah, amen. Done such a great job. The building is 2 years old now. Glaxo Town Victory Church. Excited to be here because this is kind of the pinnacle of why we came to Pakistan at this time as a Pastors and Leaders Conference. And I love these conferences because there's something special and amazing that happens when it's not just a conference, but it's actually the covenant family, the covenant apostolic family of Victory Churches of Pakistan coming together. I want to see God move us forward as a family. And of course, we love these guys. We've been working with them for 22 years when we first sent Peter back here to begin to plant churches. And many of these guys have been so faithful. It's one thing of the hallmark of this ministry is that you see men and women who are so faithful to each other. And the guys are just growing and the numbers are growing. People are being drawn in. So we're looking forward to a great conference, believing that God is going to speak like he always does. But more than that, he's going to move us ahead. Something's going to move in this conference to move the church planting vision for Pakistan ahead. I think maybe one of the things that is outstanding about the churches in Pakistan is the level of passion. That's one thing, the level of passion. And the other thing is the level of commitment. We've watched your guys, Peter, for what, 22 years now, right?
Yeah.
22 years ago, we laid hands on you and with Papa Mervyn, right, in Bangkok, and sent you in Lubna here to start to plant churches. And some of the first guys that you had with you then are still with you, most of the guys, right?
Yes.
What do you think were maybe some of the highlights of the conference, some of the main things that happened there?
I think we had been doing conferences in the past years, but it was the most amazing conference. All the people from pastors and the associate pastors, other church leaders, they were able to come. They came from the 11 different cities.
Wow, yeah.
And there were more than 150 people in conference, and all were leaders.
Yes, all leaders, yeah.
So they gave offering for to do the conference. They traveled from the different cities, and moreover, I think they learned a lot of things about for their future. The first rule is to humble yourself.
Right.
If you want to make an impact, don't think that you are greater than the others, and then don't leave the work you are doing at any cost, because this is your call. This is the purpose of living on this earth.
Wow. Yeah.
God has called us to be a church planter, to be a pastor. Just cling with that work.
Some of the biggest challenges we've ever seen pastors and church planting face are here in Pakistan. And we see these guys are so determined. I know some of them have had some very difficult times and they haven't left the work, right? They stay with it. And that really speaks to good leadership all the way around, but it also speaks to the culture that you've been able to build here, Peter. And a question that I want to ask, what makes Victory Churches of Pakistan different from any other organization?
We have never tried to control other people.
Right.
We love them. We encourage them.
Right.
We always remind them what is our vision. And we try to solve each other's problem.
Right.
Whenever someone is in problem, we call our key leaders and try to solve immediately.
Right. Okay.
So there is no conflict in our relationship. So I think all of our pastors have passion.
Yes.
They understand their calling. They understand the victory vision. They understand the victory culture. So that's why I think we are so different.
Right. And I think too that we see the level of commitment to each other, right? The brothers and sisters, the covenant family. I think that's a real key, because there's a lot of ministry that goes on, and God bless it, it's all good. But there's something very specific. If you've never been to a Victory Asia conference or summit, you need to come, especially to Pakistan, because you'll witness the difference between people who are lifetime committed to each other, coming together to worship and learn together and hear the prophetic direction from God. And it runs so much deeper than just a teaching conference, a preaching conference, or that kind of stuff. And like I say, those are all good. But this is a whole other level, and what we see come out of this is new churches. And so give us a little report, Peter, how many churches you got planted and what's going on in the future?
Actually, right now we have planted 29 churches in 11 cities.
Right.
But we are working at other places, and we have almost 10 other places where we can plant churches in future.
Right.
We have already bought tomorrow's land. We have 5 lands for the church buildings.
Okay, yeah.
But there is not so much work there. But in future we are going to build church buildings and also going to plant some more churches. And after talking to my leaders after this conference, I hope in this year we will be able to plant at least 3 more churches.
You got guys who are working hard all year out there, and they're coming up against some really difficult challenges. But when they get to the conference, they just feel like they're just refreshed again, right? Empowered again. And that's why we do that. I believe that the getting together annually, particularly for the conferences or regional meetings or whatever it is one of the most important things that we can do, because that's where everything else springs out of that vision and purpose. First thing in the morning, we're going to a school, and I think we're handing out certificates to the graduate kids or something, but these schools are another really, really heartwarming thing that's going on in Pakistan. We see all these little kids that otherwise would have no education. Is this my favorite place in the world or what? I'm in Lahore, Pakistan with our little Victory Christian School. It's one of several schools that we have in Pakistan to minister to these kids that come out of these little homes they're like hovels around here. Many of them are fatherless or orphans or whatever, all poverty stricken. If we can get these kids to come into the school when they're 5, 6, or 7 years old, right, there's a very small window that each child has to be able to begin their education. By the time they're 8, 9, 10, if they haven't started school, they're probably not going to. And then it's another generation of illiteracy. But that's the vision and that's the goal, that if we can give these kids an education, it can take them out of poverty and put them into a place of becoming successful, beneficial blessings to their society. We started this school, opened this school 22 years ago, just on the other side of the playground here in a little rented house. And she came in as a nursery student, one of the very first kids that came into the school. And that little school was just wall to wall, jammed with kids. They didn't have room for desks. They all sat on little benches with their notebooks on their laps, diligently studying. And she's come through the school and up to grade 10, graduated her grade 10 here, which is typical. And then from there going on to take online courses through a university to get her proper certification as a teacher. Meanwhile, she's been teaching in the school already for 5 years. Got a beautiful class of little kids just like her, little boys and girls, right? Just really thankful for this investment, 22 years of investing, and you see a new generation being raised up of people with potential, just like Teacher Nadab. We really appreciate people that can see beyond, what's going to happen this year or next year, but 20 years down the road. It's the only way to change a nation. If we could see life in Pakistan through the eyes of Eva or Angelina, both lost their dads and basically are orphaned, and the tremendous challenges that they face. How do you get from that kind of a life, to a life of honor and respect and dignity? And it's not just about fixing every life, but it's about fixing every life to the point where they can do something amazing for others. I mean, we're helping pastors put their kids through school and all kinds of things right now, but if we can see their kids rise up and become a new generation with a different mindset, there's not going to be that need in the next generation, because they're going to be able to make their own money and, be a blessing to their society and be a blessing in leadership in their church, great influences. Anyway, I'm excited. I want you to be excited with us, because it's just so wonderful what God is doing here in Pakistan. One of the challenges, of course, is to support these schools. You can't have a self-supported school, in the sense that, what are the kids going to do? Go out and earn money? These kids are coming out of extreme poverty. It's our responsibility to supply the education for these kids if we have the vision to see them come out of poverty. So we really need to have an answer from God as to how to support these schools effectively, not only to keep them going, but to expand them and to grow them. And I know that God has a lot of resources all over the world, and that He's not short. And it's an opportunity for us, really, that have means to be able to invest in the future of a nation. And you watch this. I mean, if I could live another 100 years, I'm going to watch Pakistan come out of poverty, come into a very influential place, and it's going to be our kids that do it.